Hi YouTube, Matt here with another YouTube video for 3D Vectis 3D models. This is just a carry on for the South Eastern Railway family first saloon. So just carrying on from where we were before, so this is part 2. Obviously you saw the chassis modifications and the body going on. So this is a new body shell from the one you saw previously, so I wanted to do one for myself so I could show you how it's done properly. So this has been sanded down, you can see, and filled, and also the holes drilled for handrails and cleaned up, sanded, roof's been sanded, holes have been opened up to 1.2 mil for the roof vents here, which come with it. Overall it still fits on the chassis, all good. So that's all the holes are drilled, cleaned up, any imperfections done. End looks the same, so that's all fine. Again, a bit more sanding around there to clean it up. So the next stage is to basically prime this body shell, not the chassis, just the body shell itself, and then it will go on to some more interesting things. So back from priming and filling, I've done a couple of coats of grey primer on this and also filled a few additional gaps and holes which I could see. Also fitted the roof vents which come with the kit, and also I've fitted the rain strip. It's a little bit thicker than I would have liked, but it's the only stuff I've got on me at the moment. This is just a plastic hard strip, or a plastic strip from Evergreen. Usually a little bit thinner than that, like 0.01 or something like that of an inch. So quite small, but unfortunately this is a little bit bigger. So I basically glued each end and raised it up in the middle and used some acrylic varnish just to hold it in place, and then of course that'll be primed with white primer, which will be its finishing colour, so white roof. The body shell now is all filled and finished. It basically will need again to go through the holes for the handles for the doors, any handrails, etc. So those will be done separately in little bits, and then they'll be darkened and blackened with chemicals. The bottom, or the body itself, will be primed in red because this will be a purple lake body shell. This is an early body shell, which you can tell by the ends. So this will be done in red primer, then the paint will go on top, and then it will be lined with a yellow single lining around the mouldings, which should take a few months, so it'll take me a while to do. But overall it's looking pretty good and progressing in the right direction. So on to some internal things, speaking about paint and bits and pieces. This is the furniture basically you will get with the kit. So this, using I think the Cantonese Sussex Bogey Saloon, which is sort of similar but a bit shorter, I've used as a base for modelling the interior furniture. So we've got 4 single seats which go around doors, long seat which goes in one compartment, and then the 2 bench seats which we'll also use 2 of the single seats in the saloon, which is this area here. Now we need to be primed and painted, so first class usually it's sort of a blue colour the manufacturers like to use. So if we turn it over, the body shell, and try and keep it in shot, you can see a sort of L-shaped support there along that wall and on the side wall. So a single seat will go there and one here, and you can glue it to the wall with a spot of glue, and you can see on this side a long support along there for the long seat, and then on this side, this is the saloon, so the long bench seats will go along this wall and that wall, and we'll stop before the door, which is here, and then the other 2 single seats will go there and there on that wall here. And then this is the toilet, so this needs an opaque window or a frosted window, which I'll sort of discuss a bit later. So the interior will be painted brown, just standard, and then the seating will be painted blue and highlighted with brown bits and pieces as well for the wood. So that is the next stage of that little section as well. So in the next part, most of this will be painted and primed, the interior anyway. The exterior will be probably in its undercoat of red, and the roof will be white, and then it'll be ready to go to paint. So just before this goes to the paint shop or primer shop, I thought I'd show you some handrails. So I've made these today out of 0.45 brass, so you need the holes to be 0.45 mil. You can obviously get those drill bits from a specialist like Eileen's Emporium. I just use a small hand drill like this one, or a pin vise drill I think you call it. So you can see here I put them on the end. There's no photos of this carriage with them on. I can't find any of this carriage in service at all. I don't know how many were built, but so I've done a little bit of research from the Cantonese Sussex type, which is also a saloon, but it's got bogies on it and it's longer, but they're of a similar type. So I've started to use their photos. So it's a bit of a guess really on this, but there are no holes to actually put your handrails on the end, so just be careful and measure it up properly. So on this one I've got another hole up here, which another piece of wire will come out and get soldered onto the main handrail. On the side you can see here I've made the L shape type. As we go down here as well, they'll be removed for priming. And just moving it around, you can see on the other side the L-shaped handrails again. So just thought I'd show you those, and now it's off to taping up and priming. Okay, just back from the paint shop, and you can see her bottom is primed in red primer. This is just Halford's plastic primer. The top is primed in white primer from Halford's as well. Just using some special masking tape. Just basically masked off the roof, did the bottom first, then did the top afterwards. So the bottom half of the body is now ready to paint and finish off. Just needs a bit more cleaning inside. So that one is pretty much ready to go. So on with painting, and the paint I'm using is it's basically a Caledonian Coach Purple, which was recommended to me a long time ago. P434 from Phoenix Precision Paints, but I have mixed it up a little bit and made it a little bit darker, so it's closer to what is on the Bluebell at the moment. So that's what I'm using, and I'll be painting this, and it'll be a few days till it dries, and it'll be the fun part, which is lining out. That'll take a few days. So on with painting. Right, back from the paint shop. You can see here the body is now painted externally. There'll be a few areas to pick out with some teak around the window, opening door frame, shall we say, so around the drop lights, door, and possibly around the toilet window, which is here. So that's been finished in a purple lake, which is a custom mix which I've made. So that's been painted on both sides. The roof's been painted in white or white primer. Also tried some of the handrails fitted as well, just to check they line up the holes, so that's all good. They need to be chemically blackened. Done all the door ones as well. Would also recommend the Bill Bedford sort of handrail bending jig, if you like. That's quite handy to use for say the bracket handles or the handles on the doors, not so much the ends, but yeah, you can see they're quite different. Seats have all been painted, so these are the internal seats, and painted in blue for first class, red for third usually. All the small chairs have been picked out and detailed, so these will go into the actual compartments and the saloon in the middle. One end is the guard and the other end is the toilet. So all in all, everything's painted, and then we go into the lining. So the lining I was going to do by hand on a bow pen. If it's in a bow pen, that's what one looks like. I can pick these up quite cheap. You can see I did start. I take it out the light, so I did start around here, and as you can see, I've picked out the doors on this side. But I've had some problems with paint consistency, not really working. So what I'm going to try is I bought I think it's a gel pen or something along those lines. And I'm going to use that instead of the bow pen. Maybe just use the bow pen for the straight lines, and use the hand pen, gel pen, which is yellow, which I'll show you when it arrives, to go around all the smaller, more intricate parts. So that's the aim. Inside needs to be painted brown, which I've sort of started, and also there needs to be a little bit of cleaning up inside. Also, I've ordered some lighting for this as well, so I'll be installing some lighting which is similar to the Hornby magnetic type ones, but A, cheaper, and B, you can make it yourself. So hopefully come back to you when I've actually done the lining, thank God, which will be probably 3 months from now. So welcome back to the workbench. As you saw before, I have painted one side in its purple lake, and of course I was just about to start the lining. So if I flip it over, there you can see the lining. So I have done one side, and if you're asking how I've lined it out, what I was going to do was use paint as well as one of these sort of lining bow pens. However, it wasn't really working that well, and I wasn't really wanting to go out and buy some more paint, etc, etc. So I went back to an old trick I learned from, I think it's London, Brighton, South Coast Circle, and I used a gel pen. This is just a yellow gel pen. This is by Mitsubishi Pencil Co. Limited. Code number UM-120AC. An angelic colour apparently. I was hoping for a warmer yellow, but I can't find any at all. But it comes out reasonably okay. So I still need to do the other side. You can see I put the handles back on, and then on the transfers. So back on the workbench now, and you can see this side's all been lined out as well now with the same pen, 0.5mm yellow gel pen. So that's all been done now and varnished. It's best to protect it after you've done it because it's still wet to the touch, so you have to put varnish over the top of it to protect it so you don't smudge it off. On the other side, you can see I've made a start on transfers, and big thanks to Richard Salmon at the Bluebell, who works in the carriage and wagon department, has been helping me out with positioning of numbers, letters, etc, and working through various photos of various saloons, etc. So we believe placement wise it should have guard, the number, Southeastern Chatham lettering first, which is wrong for this, which I'm talking to Fox about, and saloon, and again the number just here. The sheets are these ones from Fox Transfers FRH4471. They do come with the Saloon lettering. You can see there, same number but with an X on the end. They should have a first with it, but unfortunately we don't, so I need to talk to them about that and see if they can produce some, otherwise it's not going to look very good. But overall that's what we settled with, and I'm going to do the other side now. These are just water slides, so warm water, a bit of washing up liquid. You can use some microsol as well to soften them and let them set properly. Of course this will have varnish over the top of it as well. So I need to do the other side, let that dry off, and then I'll be on to the internals hopefully. Hi all, welcome back to Workbench again, and you can see now the transfers have been applied, it's been varnished. I want to say a big thank you to Derek Haywood, photographer for, I think he does the Bluebird as well as various other ones, and also a big thanks to John at Precision Labels who do transfers. I think as I discussed on the last part, Fox, who do most of the transfers for this, didn't do a lettering big enough to go with the Saloon, which we still disagree about, but there you go. So luckily I found a photo from Derek from Kenton East Sussex of 177 family Saloon, which is painted red or slightly darker red now, and managed to find the lettering off one of his photos and then edit that photo to strip it down and then redo it on the computer, as well as put in the appropriate decoration, highlights, etc. And John at the transfer company, Precision Labels, managed to turn that around within 24 hours at a very reasonable cost. So that's all been done now, both sides. All the handrails have been fitted on the doors and also on the ends. So now we're going on to the insides of this carriage. So as you can see, I have some strips of clear acetate. You can buy this very cheaply off Amazon or local shop or something like that, but it's basically the old overhead projector sheets which are clear, and these will do for windows. Of course they're not flush windows or flush glazing, but we all just have to put up with what we have. So these have been cut. They are unluckily 13mm deep, and across it's just the width of an A4 sheet of acetate. These are then cut into sections and then they are glued. Now I use, you can get something called canopy glue, which is a bit like PVA, and you can also get, I can't remember what it's called now, but glue and glaze. But you can also get this. This is from Deluxe Materials, Modeller's Craft Glue, flexible, clear, and dries clear. So windows, canopies. So you can, as I say, canopy glue. It's generally called. It dries very quickly and it goes tacky. So I recommend that. So you just use a brush, a bit of water, add it where you want it, or don't over water it or over dilute it, or else it just runs everywhere. So you put it on a brush, put it around where you need it, and then put it into place, and then it dries clear. The insides of this carriage is nice and flat after I've basically flattened it all back, painted it brown inside, and also painted the roof white, which I'll explain later. So that is ready to go. So on to the windows. Okay, welcome back to the workbench one more time, and possibly the last time for this project anyway. So you can see the windows are glazed. You can see my reflection in the windows. You can see the toilet window here has been painted white from the back. Also the internals, you can see there, have been fitted. So the seat in the compartment and one either side of the door, then the long bench seats, and then one either side of that door to the toilet. So that is pretty much it. Apart from, you put a nice interior in here, so you kind of want to see it, I suppose. So what I've done is I've been to Layouts for You, and they do lighting and various details for your layout, and they do an internal light system, a bit like Hornby's Maglite system, which they basically copied. And these have been around for ages. I've used them before Hornby's either were existent. So if I tip it over, you can see here, excuse the thick wire, but it comes with the kit. So we've got a light in the guard end, one light in the compartment, and 3 lights in the top, and the battery is hidden away in the toilet, as you do. This is all operated with a magnet, typically a Hornby magnet, but you can use any magnets, and it's off at the moment. I'm using their kit, which has got a latching reed switch in there, which you can just see alongside the LED tag strip, as I call it, and you can just wave that across the top, and you can see LEDs illuminated, and you can probably not really see it on the camera, but that is illuminated rather nicely, and you can see the internals. And again, just to turn it off, there you go, off. So that lights up the internals very nicely, and you can see all the seating, and hopefully when I get around to it, putting the passengers inside as well. Also a little bit of news on transfers. Now, I've been talking to Fox Transfers quite a bit this last week about putting First and Saloon on the or under the windows. They wouldn't do First for me, additionally, and also the Saloon writing that they have is slightly different to what it should be. The S should be bigger and the rest of the letters smaller. So they're going to look at this and do it properly. Apparently one guy wants to do it as per Cantonese Sussex, but the shading's wrong on that, so fun. The first were made by Precision Labels for me, so I really appreciate being turned around in 24 hours, but hopefully the next batch of transfers from Fox should have First and Saloon the correct size and look really nice. So what I'm going to do is attach this to the chassis. I'm going to add a floor later and see how it looks. And there we have it, one new carriage body shell on a modified generic Hornby 6-wheeler chassis with my own mag lights, which you can see there. So that's all on, working and looking very nice. So that finishes that one. Got some other projects coming up. So next it'll be the Alderbury carriages, and I'll walk you through that slowly and show you how to do those. So hopefully you've enjoyed this workbench video, and hopefully it helps you build your South Eastern Railway or South Eastern Chatham Railway first family saloon.